The cutthroat of Flea Bottom, Bronn's beginnings were as humble as they come. Born in the stinking alleys of Flea Bottom, he learned early that survival was a skill earned through blood and cunning. His father was a drunkard, his mother a washerwoman who died young, leaving Bronn to fend for himself. By the age of 10 he was picking pockets, by 15 he was a hired blade, selling his sword to whoever could pay. But Bronn was no ordinary cutthroat. He had a sharp mind and a sharper tongue, and he quickly learned that words could be as deadly as steel. He charmed his way out of trouble, talked his way into jobs, and always made sure he was on the winning side, or at least the side that paid the most. His big break came during a tavern brawl in Lannisport. A drunken Lannister knight, outnumbered and outmatched, was about to be gutted by a group of bandits when Bronn stepped in. With a few well-placed strikes and a clever distraction, he saved the knight's life. In gratitude, the knight brought Bronn to Casterly Rock, where he became a sellsword in service to House Lannister. At Casterly Rock, Bronn's true education began. He watched the Lannisters closely, Tywin's cold calculations, Cersei's ruthless ambition, and Tyrion's sharp wit. He learned the art of politics, the importance of alliances, and the value of information. He also learned to mask his true nature, presenting himself as a loyal if somewhat crude servant. When Tyrion Lannister was named acting hand of the king, Bronn became his right-hand man. Together, they navigated the treacherous waters of King's Landing, outmaneuvering their enemies and surviving countless plots. Bronn's loyalty to Tyrion was genuine, but it was also pragmatic. He knew that aligning himself with the imp was the quickest way to rise in the world. During the Battle of the Blackwater, Bronn proved his worth. He fought bravely on the front lines, cutting down Stannis Baratheon's men with brutal efficiency. When the battle was won, Tyrion rewarded him with a knighthood. Sir Bronn of the Blackwater had a nice ring to it. But Bronn knew that a title alone was not enough. He wanted more. As the War of the Five Kings raged on, Bronn positioned himself as a man who could solve problems for the right price. He served Tyrion faithfully, but when the imp fled Westeros after killing Tywin Lannister, Bronn found himself adrift. He worked for anyone with gold, from the Tyrells to the Boltons, always playing both sides, always staying one step ahead. When Daenerys Targaryen arrived in Westeros with her dragons and armies, Bronn saw an opportunity. He knew the Dragon Queen's conquest would leave a power vacuum, and he intended to fill it. He ingratiated himself with her advisors, offering his services as a strategist and enforcer, but behind his charming smile and clever quips, Bronn was plotting her downfall. The Dragon Queen's assault on King's Landing was meant to be the final chapter in her conquest. Her armies marched on the city, her dragons soared above, and her enemies trembled, but Bronn had other plans. Years earlier, while serving in King's Landing, Bronn had discovered caches of wildfire hidden beneath the city, remnants of the Mad King's reign. While others saw only destruction, Bronn saw opportunity. He secretly arranged for the wildfire to be moved and concentrated beneath key points in the city. When Daenerys' forces breached the gates, Bronn gave the signal. The explosion was catastrophic. Green flames erupted across King's Landing, consuming soldiers, dragons, and buildings alike. Daenerys, caught in the inferno, perished with her dreams of conquest. The realm watched in horror as the city burned, but Bronn watched with satisfaction. He had turned the tide of the battle with a single devastating act. With Daenerys dead and her armies scattered, the realm was in disarray. Bronn moved quickly to consolidate power. He knew he needed allies, and he found one in Princess Tyene Sand, the fiercest of the Sand Snakes of Dawn. Tyene was as cunning and ruthless as Bronn, with a beauty that masked her deadly nature. The union was one of mutual ambition. Bronn gained Dawn's loyalty, while Tyene saw in him a man who could rule with strength and intelligence. Their marriage was celebrated in Sunspear, a lavish affair that brought the lords of Westeros to their knees, not out of love but out of fear. Bronn's rise was too swift, too calculated to be challenged. The Blackwater King, when Bronn finally sat upon the Iron Throne, the realm knew it had a new kind of ruler. He was not a man of noble birth or divine right, but a self-made king who had clawed his way to the top. His court was filled with whispers of his ruthlessness, but also of his cunning and charm. He spoke with the eloquence of a high-born lord, yet his words carried the weight of a man who had killed without remorse. But only the right people. Bronn's reign was marked by a brutal pragmatism. He crushed rebellions before they began, rewarded loyalty handsomely, and ensured that no one forgot the price of crossing him. Yet he ruled with a strange dignity, a cutthroat who had learned to wear a crown. As he gazed out over the Red Keep, Bronn allowed himself a rare smile. He had started with nothing but a blade and a sharp tongue, and now he had everything. The Iron Throne was his, and the realm would remember the name of Bronn of the Blackwater, the man who rose from the gutters to become king. And if anyone dared to challenge him, They would learn the same lesson as Daenerys Targaryen, that the most dangerous man in Westeros was not the one with the biggest army or the fiercest dragon, but the one who knew how to play the game better than anyone else. Bronn's reign was long and tumultuous, marked by both prosperity and bloodshed. He ruled with an iron fist, but also with a surprising degree of fairness. He understood the common folk because he had been one of them, and he made sure that the realm's wealth was distributed more evenly than it had been under previous rulers. Princess Tyene proved to be a formidable queen, her cunning and ruthlessness complementing Bronn's own. Together, they ruled with a unity that few could challenge. Their children, a blend of Dornish fire and Blackwater cunning, would go on to secure the dynasty that Bronn had built. In the end, Bronn of the Blackwater was remembered not just as a king, but as a legend, a man who defied the odds, outplayed the highborn, and claimed the Iron Throne through sheer will and wit. And though his methods were brutal, his legacy was undeniable. He was the king who rose from the gutters to rule them all. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and thank you so much for watching.